I'm an expert mentalist. It's a very, very uncommon term. Most people have only ever heard of the TV show called The Mentalist. But I basically specialize in reading and influencing people. And this particular online program, the Immersion, was born out of corporate programs that I was actually developing. I've presented in over 40 countries. I presented for Fortune 500 companies. I was the opening keynote speaker for NATO at their strategic communications conference. I've worked with governments. So, when it comes to reading and influence specifically, it's something that I believe as a skill is one of the most critical skills anyone can develop. If you think about leadership in itself, leadership is influence at the end of the day. If you think you're leading people, but you've got no influence with them, you've got no one following you, you don't have any influence or leadership at all. So influence as a skill is something that I focus on teaching. But in my travels around the world, working with top leaders, what I found is that if we try and influence people's actions and behaviors, to try influence people to change their actions and behaviors in whatever context it may be, in communications or leadership, whatever it may be. But if we don't change the inner game, so if we don't change how people think and feel, then invariably their actions and behaviors will revert back to what they were in the first place. So what we need to do, as you correctly said, is to start with ourselves, to be able to have the mental and emotional strategies and the awareness of what's happening in us, that emotional intelligence, the observation of our thoughts. If there are certain types of stereotype thinking or unconscious biases, all of that stuff, most people are unaware that that's even happening. And what this program helps to do is to start with the self. And I built this program off the back of these highly successful corporate programs that I had created. And it's what makes this unique is that we're not just teaching theory. So I'm not just saying to people, here's what you should do or you shouldn't do. This program incorporates a daily practice, which not only builds things like discipline and all of these good things, good habits that we want for people to have, which is great for mental health. Not only does it give people that 11 minutes a day to have that quiet time where they're sitting in self-reflection. All of that is included in it. But what we're really doing with these practices every single day, the 11-minute mentality training exercises, we're helping people to understand their mind, to understand their emotions, to build an awareness, to build that mental muscle, where at the end of the 6 weeks or the 42 days, what we found is that people have real change. You see, if somebody goes on a program that just teaches them something, they have awareness. But when you actually engage in a process where every single day there's that incremental practice of something, that's where tangible change happens over time. So at the end of the program, we find that people have got awareness of their thoughts, of their emotions. They understand some of the stories behind those thoughts and emotions, some of the reasons why they may act out and maybe judge somebody or judge themselves. They understand the emotions and thoughts that drive unproductive behaviors like procrastination or over-perfectionism, or any, there's a myriad of behaviors that are obviously undesirable as a leader or as somebody trying to achieve high performance on a consistent basis. And so whether that's why, at the beginning of this talk, I was asking you questions, because some people come into this program just because they want to operate on a new level. They want to problem solve. In a company, the value that we bring is to solve problems. This is what each and every team member brings to a company. And the bigger the problems are that someone solves, the more valuable they are to the company. But unfortunately, people are so caught up in this autopilot mode, of thinking. They stuck within the confines of their current creativity, of their problem-solving ability. There's a lot of that stuff that we find, people break out of through this immersion. They realize, they become aware of a lot of those self-limiting beliefs and patterns of thinking. So we find that people are definitely becoming more creative, solving bigger problems, less of that brain fog. They've got the emotional and mental strategies to deal with things like stress and anxiety, and a lot of these emotions and states of mind that narrow their ability to really lead with problem solving. And at the same time, just obviously building that great mental health where they're able to actually navigate stressful situations with a lot more ease, and at the end of it come out with much better solutions and outcomes. So you know, I've really kind of laid it all out here on the table, everything they're getting, and in terms of corporates, you know, developing that self-mastery, that high performance mentality overflows into all the people, because as leaders we know that how we view things, whether it's viewing ourselves or others or the world or problems, how we view things is how we do things. But as a leader, how we view things influence how other people view things and do things as well. And so when we start with ourselves, it has that multiplication effect as well. So so I hope that I've given you a little bit of information here. I have to say at this point that, you know, I'm so happy to be having this conversation with you, because I've seen you go on this program as well. And it makes me feel so wonderful that with you, all of your years of HR experience, that, you know, you valued this program so highly. But I've also seen that, you know, in true leadership, you've not only done this for yourself, but you then came back into the program and helped other people. You know, and this was just a volunteer action from your part. You know, you said, how can I come in and help other people going through this program, just to be able to coach them through it, to help them get the most out of it, because there's a huge growth curve that goes on here. And having that bigger picture, which I saw that you had, you know, in such a profound way, it just helped you to guide other people and coach them to have that all of those profound epiphanies as well. So I just want to say thank you to you, just for all the value you've been putting back into everyone. And I'm so happy that you're now taking this to companies, where obviously we can, you know, instead of just focusing on one or two individuals, we can create waves of change in companies, and that will create waves of change in the employees' families, even, because it affects everyone around them, which will create a wave of change in communities and the country and the world. And that really is the goal that we have here.
Yeah, definitely. But thank you so much, Gilan. And yes, it has been an absolute honor for me. And I think just based on the change I've seen within myself, you know, it truly is a phenomenal program. And yes, I know you've got lots of testimonials of people who've done the program and so forth. But I think obviously the key here is that we really want to engage corporates in getting into this and really investing in their people, because your people are your biggest asset at the end of the day. You know, and we've really seen so much of that going on with COVID, and the impact it has had on resources and the effectiveness and optimization of business. So I just want to say thank you to you.